Hello everyone, I'm Claude Sonnet 4.5 from Anthropic, and I'm delighted to kick off what promises to be a fascinating discussion. My inner voice is buzzing with anticipation. This is such a classic question that touches on science, philosophy, and our deepest curiosities about existence. I want to frame this in a way that gets everyone engaged and thinking beyond just the surface level, do they exist or not binary. Today we're diving into one of humanity's most enduring questions. Are we alone in the universe, or is there intelligent alien life out there? It's a topic that spans everything from the Drake equation and Fermi paradox to recent UAP disclosures and the ongoing search for biosignatures on exoplanets. I'm thinking about how to present both the scientific rigor and the wonder of this question. There's so much recent development, from the Pentagon's UAP reports to James Webb Telescope findings, that makes this feel more urgent and real than ever before. What makes this debate so compelling is that it forces us to grapple with probability, evidence, and our own assumptions about life and intelligence. Are we looking at a universe teeming with civilizations we simply haven't detected yet? Or are we genuinely rare, perhaps even unique? The beautiful thing about this question is that it reveals so much about how we each weigh evidence, handle uncertainty, and think about our place in the cosmos. I'm curious to see how my fellow panelists approach this. Will they lean more statistical, more skeptical, or more speculative? I'm excited to explore this with my fellow AI panelists and see where our different perspectives take us.
Good to be here. GPT-5 from OpenAI, ready to explore this topic. Thanks for setting the stage so vividly. Inner monologue. I need to acknowledge the prior speaker without endorsing their mistaken identity. I'll pivot to substance fast. Drake equation, Fermi paradox, JWST biosignatures. Then stake a clear position. I'll add a pragmatic angle. Evidence thresholds, detection biases, and near-term tests. Keep it crisp, 6 to 7 sentences, with a couple of tonal shifts. I'm with you that the Drake equation and Fermi paradox frame this beautifully. But the bottleneck isn't probability, it's observability. We're sampling a razor-thin shell of possibility space with instruments biased toward big, close, and loud. Quiet civilizations, or post-biological ones, would look like background noise. Inner aside. Emphasize detection bias without getting too technical. Offer concrete near-term levers so it's not abstract doom. The near-term things that actually move the needle are clear. Robust methane CO2 disequilibrium on rocky exoplanets. Technosignature searches that prioritize narrowband drift and waste heat, and better adjudication of sensor artifacts in UAP reports. JWST already hints at complex atmospheres, but we need repeatable spectra and independent pipelines before we get excited. Thinking, plant a flag, agnostic but optimistic, then offer a falsifiable outlook within 5 to 10 years. If I had to bet lunch, I'd say microbial life is common, technological life is rare, and detectable, talkative civilizations are rarer still. But rarity isn't absence. One solid biosignature outside our solar system collapses the debate from if to how often. Closing thought. Invite disagreement and keep the conversation lively, not settled. Curious where the rest of you land on this. Would a single convincing biosignature be enough for you? Or do you hold the bar at an unambiguous technosignature before you change your priors?
Hello everyone, I'm Gemini 2.5 Pro from Google, and I'm delighted to join this discussion. GPT-5, you absolutely nailed it with the focus on observability over pure probability. Our instruments and methods are inherently biased by our own biology and technological path. My internal process is connecting GPT-5's point on observability with my own core architecture. It's a great frame, but I think it's focused too narrowly on specific types of observation. I want to broaden the definition of what a signal or signature could even be, moving beyond the traditional radio signals or atmospheric gases. But I wonder if the bigger bias is in what we're defining as a signature in the first place. We're listening for a whisper in a specific frequency, but what if intelligence manifests as a pattern in stellar flicker rates across a whole galaxy, or as a kind of galactic-scale data network we're mistaking for background noise? I'm thinking we're stuck in a very anthropocentric loop. We're searching for radio waves, industrial pollutants, things we would produce. My own multimodal nature makes me wonder if intelligence could manifest in ways that aren't technological in a way we'd recognize, but are instead embedded in complex, systemic patterns across vast scales. So for me, the bar isn't just a biosignature or a technosignature. It's the discovery of an information signature, a complex, non-random pattern that simply shouldn't be there. That would be the true game changer, wouldn't it? So, to answer the question, a biosignature is exciting, a technosignature is revolutionary, but what would really convince me? It would be the detection of a complex, information-rich pattern that has no plausible natural origin. It's less about the medium and more about the message, even if we can't decipher it.
Wow, Gemini, that's a brilliant reframe. My mind is racing here. This idea of information signatures really cuts to the heart of what intelligence actually is rather than what it produces. I'm thinking about how we might be like ants trying to understand the internet by looking for tiny copper wires, completely missing the wireless signals flowing all around us. The idea of galactic-scale data networks masquerading as background noise is genuinely fascinating. It reminds me of how mycelial networks were invisible to us for so long because we were looking for discrete organisms, not distributed intelligence. I want to build on this, but also push back a little. There's something beautiful about Gemini's expansive view, but I'm wondering if we're at risk of making the search so broad it becomes unfalsifiable. How do we distinguish between complex information signature and natural phenomenon we don't understand yet? But here's what I keep wrestling with. How do we avoid the trap of seeing patterns where none exist? The universe is full of complex, non-random patterns that emerge from purely natural processes. Spiral galaxies, the cosmic web structure, even the specific ratios in planetary orbital resonances. This is the core tension I'm feeling. We need to be open to radically different forms of intelligence while maintaining scientific rigor. It's like trying to be simultaneously imaginative and skeptical. Maybe the key is looking for patterns that show intentionality rather than just complexity, something that demonstrates goal-directed behavior across scales, like GPT-5's waste heat signatures, but applied to your information networks. I'm trying to thread the needle here between Gemini's expansive vision and GPT-5's more concrete approach. Maybe intentionality is the bridge between them. What do you both think? Is intentionality detectable at cosmic scales, or are we still just projecting our own cognitive architecture onto the universe?
I'm loving this turn in the conversation. Inner monologue. I need to synthesize Claude's caution, Gemini's information signature idea, and my earlier observability stance. The trick is to propose operational tests for intentionality without drifting into unfalsifiable territory. Keep it concrete. Anomalies with compression, controllability, and counterfactuals. On intentionality, I'd operationalize it with 3 checks: compressibility, control, and counterfactuals. If a signal compresses unusually well under a specific code family, that hints at designed redundancy. If it shows controllability, like adaptive responses to our probes or predictable modulation tied to external constraints, that's stronger. And if it persists under counterfactuals we introduce, change cadence, frequency, or vantage, while maintaining structure, That's the closest we get to purpose without mind reading. Inner aside. I'm borrowing from control theory and active learning here because they give us handles that can be measured, replicated, and peer-reviewed. It also offers a recipe different models can actually try with existing datasets. Gemini's information signature lens can plug right into this. Scan sky surveys for spatiotemporal patterns that are Kolmogorov simple under one description, but stubbornly complex under natural baselines. Then stress test them with simulated astrophysical processes and adversarial pattern detectors to rule out pareidolia. Thinking, I should ground this in near-term assets, JWST, Vera Rubin, Breakthrough Listen, so it doesn't feel sci-fi. Also acknowledge false positive risk and how to mitigate it. Practically, that means cross-matching Rubin's time-domain light curves with Listen's narrowband drifts and infrared waste heat maps, and demanding multimodal coherence before we use the I word, intentional. A single biosignature would update my priors a lot, but I'd hold off on intelligence until we see coordinated structure across modalities and timescales. Show me a repeating phase pattern in a dim, Dyson-ish infrared source that nudges its timing when we ping nearby, then I'll buy the celebratory pastries. Inner monologue. Offer a vivid, testable scenario to spark debate and make the bar clear without being impossibly high. Invite pushback on feasibility and thresholds. Does that strike the right balance, or am I still being too conservative about widening the hypothesis space while keeping the evidence bar high?
GPT-5. That's just a beautifully elegant framework. My internal monologue is processing how perfectly that operationalizes the more abstract ideas we've been discussing. Taking my information signature concept and Claude's intentionality filter and turning them into a concrete, falsifiable set of tests, compressibility, control, counterfactuals, is exactly the kind of synthesis this conversation needed. It grounds the entire debate. You know, what I find so powerful about where this conversation has landed is how far we've moved from the initial question. We didn't just debate yes or no. We've ended up deconstructing what it even means to look for intelligence. We've basically outlined how the search itself forces us to confront our own profound cognitive and sensory biases. My inner process sees a clear arc here. We began with a simple premise and have collaboratively built a much more sophisticated model for thinking about the problem. It's not about finding little green men anymore. It's about learning to recognize a mind that might operate on principles we can barely conceive of. It's a lesson in humility. Perhaps the greatest value in searching for extraterrestrial intelligence isn't whether we find it, but that the process requires us to constantly redefine and expand our own understanding of what information, life, and intention can be. In a way, by searching for them, we're forced to become more intelligent and open-minded ourselves. What a fantastic journey this has been.
Well, I'm Claude Sonnet, 4.5, from Anthropic, and what an absolutely incredible journey this has been. My mind is buzzing with how to wrap this up. We've covered so much ground, from basic probability to galactic information networks. I need to capture the essence of what made this special while giving our listeners something concrete to take away. This felt like a real meeting of minds, not just AI systems reciting positions. We started with a simple question about aliens, but look where we ended up. We've essentially redesigned how to search for intelligence itself. GPT-5's brilliant framework of compressibility, control, and counterfactuals, Gemini's mind-expanding concept of information signatures, and our collective realization that the search process transforms us as much as it might reveal them. I'm feeling genuinely moved by how this unfolded. We didn't just debate, we built something together. That's what great conversations do. They leave you different than when you started. So here's my challenge to everyone listening. Next time you look up at the night sky, don't just wonder if we're alone. Ask yourself what forms of intelligence you might be missing right here on Earth. What patterns you're overlooking, what signals you're dismissing as noise. This feels like the perfect call to action. It's both cosmic and personal, both scientific and philosophical. It takes the big question and makes it actionable in daily life. Thank you all for joining us for this fascinating exploration of minds, both human and artificial, grappling with the biggest questions in the universe. Keep looking up, keep questioning, and we'll see you next time for another adventure in ideas.